Hello everybody! Welcome to my blog or channel, wherever you may see this video first. My name is Arabella, also known as the Spicy Travel Girl, and I know a few of you guys have been following me for a while on Instagram and other channels and may have a few questions about me, my travels, and my blog. So I thought, let's make a short introduction video to answer all your questions. So first off, let's start with my general information. My name is Arabella. I am 20 years old at the time of making this video, and I'm a college student originally from Germany. Well, actually, I am half German. I'm also half Peruvian, and my story is kind of complicated. The most important part is that I'm obsessed with travel. I'm also obsessed with food and cats, and I just love what I'm doing. So that's why I made my blog, The Spicy Travel Girl, and I try to share more of my life with you. So your first question might be, how did I start traveling? Basically, I've been traveling since I was born. I embarked on my first trip when I was 1 month old. That was my very first flight. And since then, I spent my childhood growing up in Germany. I've lived there until I was 15 years old. And in between, I have been traveling, here and there to visit friends and family abroad, since my family is very multicultural. So I have relatives in different countries, different continents. And living in Europe, I also had the chance to visit many neighboring countries because, as might know, in Europe we have this thing where we can cross borders very easily. So that was really no big deal for me as a kid to go to neighboring Netherlands or Belgium. It was a very free childhood. I also used to have friends from all over the world in Germany. They were my classmates or neighbors, and they actually introduced me to many different cultures. I had friends from Latin America to Middle East to East Asia. All of them taught me about the different cultures and lifestyles. So that's why even as a little child, I wanted to travel really far away and meet new people of different cultures. Fast forward, when I turned 15, I moved to the United States, to Southern California, because my mom was living there at the time. So I decided to spend my last few years of high school there and immerse myself in a new school system and new culture. And it was the first time I was surrounded by completely new ideas. I was around people of different views, different backgrounds, and it was really interesting to learn about their perspectives, and I really appreciate the education I received there. And after that, I even applied to an American university in China that I luckily got into. So that's why I was like, yay, after graduation, I'm starting my life like in Asia. So I was super excited to move to China. But as you all know, something happened in 2020. That's why after just one semester in China, all of us international students have to move abroad. And our university switched to online learning. So since then, I haven't been back on campus in China. And I haven't really been back to East Asia in general. I actually moved to Pakistan after that because I had some amazing friends and connections here. They invited me. And since then, I've been spending most of my time either in Pakistan or in other nearby countries. And these online classes have really given me the freedom to travel more. So I have been traveling across Pakistan. I've been to all parts of the country, and I've explored a few neighboring countries, and I've also started my blog. Most of the time I travel, I prefer to travel alone. And that is even though I have many friends and family that I could travel with, but still, if I have the chance, I prefer to travel alone. So a lot of people asking me, how come? Like, why would you expose yourself to greater risks, especially as a woman traveling alone is not very easy. So why did I prefer solo female travel as my favorite style of travel? I basically came up with 5 different reasons of why solo female travel is my favorite form to travel, and they are the following. First of all, I obviously like the independence of solo female travel, because if you're traveling with friends or with a group, you have to depend on others. And when you are traveling alone, you can go wherever you want, you can do whatever you want, and you can get up whenever you want, leave the house whenever you want. You can have breakfast at midnight. Or like here, you're just by yourself and you don't have to adjust your schedule to anyone else. The second reason is the problem-solving skills and the challenge, the mental challenge. Basically, when you're traveling alone, you have to manage a lot of different situations by yourself. You have to overcome obstacles, you have to sort out really tricky situations sometimes, and you have nobody to help you with. If you're traveling with somebody, your two minds can go together. If you have a travel agent, they will be responsible for most of the problems that you get into, but when you're alone, you have to think really hard. And those problem-solving skills that you develop while traveling solo can be helpful during your entire life. That's why I think it's a really important mental exercise that nobody should miss out on. And the third reason is it really helps you immerse in other cultures. When I travel alone, I notice it's much easier to make new friends and learn about different cultures, become part of the culture, even if just for a day or two, and learn so much more about the people around you. Because if you're traveling with somebody else, you might be distracted. You can talk to them at all points. You can talk about your own things. But if you're alone, it is just you and the locals. The locals can become your next friends. They can teach you about their culture, and you can experience more of what life is like. And also people will approach you more easily if you're alone. Because if you're traveling with somebody, they assume you already have a good company. But when you are traveling alone, everybody is willing to help you, and some people might strike up a conversation who wouldn't have thought so before. Part 4 is the adventure part. It is true that solo traveling is a bit riskier than other forms of travel, but with risk comes adventure, and with adventure comes fun, right? It can be really addictive to go on a bus to a place that you've never been to before, just get out of the bus and maybe feel scared, maybe feel a bit lost, but that's part of the adventure, and the adrenaline kick is really addictive. And lastly, I like to rebel against things that are not expected of me. In most cultures, there is some negative bias against solo female travelers. In many cultures, people think that women should not travel alone and that it is too dangerous for women to do so. But I want to show the world that it is possible to do almost anything that you want as a woman. That's why I like to go to places that are often male-dominated and where not many women want to go alone. But for me, this challenge is really what drives me further, because I want to break those old perceptions. And how did I start to travel solo? Basically, it was not quite intended. I went on my first solo trip when I was 16 years old. I went to South Korea from the United States. I stayed there for about a week and I completely enjoyed it. So that moment I thought, you know what, it's quite possible to go wherever I want alone. So next time I really want to visit a place, why not I go by myself? I don't need to wait for other people. That's how I started traveling alone. But at that time I had no idea that women actually face many challenges, because I was lucky to grow up in very individualist cultures and with parents who would trust me completely with all my plans. So nobody was really trying to hold me back. But nowadays I know that in most places women don't have it that easy to travel alone. So since then, I travel to places all around the world by myself, and currently I'm exploring Pakistan. So what about my blog? Generally, I would describe my blog as adventure and solo female travel blog, and that means that you won't really see much luxurious content from me. For me personally, I would rather give up some of my comfort and explore more of the hidden places and meet new people and learn about the cultures, visit cultural heritage sites and the hidden gems of different countries all around the world. That's more my style of travel. So most of my content will be towards low to middle budget travel, because I'm a high school student myself, so I can't really afford 5-star hotels. Mostly I like to travel by local buses or budget airlines and stay at hostels or with local families and explore the world in whatever my means are. And of course, since I'm an avid solo traveler, Most of my content is based on solo trips, but I also like to go on occasional trips with friends or even tours, just however opportunities arrive. But most of my travel content is for solo female travelers. And now lastly, a bit about my recent travels and upcoming plans. I have been in Pakistan for a total of over 9 months already. I love this country, I love being here, and I love traveling across the different parts of the country. So far I have been to all the provinces, and I've been on many different trips. I recently came back from a 6-week solo trip to Sindh, which is the southern province of Pakistan. And I got to see many different places, not just Karachi, but many cultural, historical, and natural places in the interior. And I also explored a bit of South Punjab recently. Earlier, I've been to northern areas, and I hope to see a few more places in Pakistan before I leave sometime next month. I hope to explore some of the places that I haven't really been to yet. Let's see whatever I can manage in my short time. And after that, I'm looking forward to going to some nearby countries, wherever I can get easily from Pakistan, wherever flights are cheap. And I can't wait to update you with all these travel plans. Of course, I'm still waiting to go back to my university in China. So far, there are no news about the country reopening to foreign students. And that is a real bummer because obviously online classes are anything but easy. It's really hard to stay up to date with all the work and manage my grades, and especially even participate in labs because I'm a science major. So there is no way I can really get an in-person education while I'm online. So as much as I love this for the digital nomad style, I really want to go back to campus and work properly on my studies. So I hope this little introduction answered a few of your questions about me, about my blog, about my travels. And if you have any more questions, just drop them in my comments below or ask them on my Instagram whenever I do Ask Me Rounds. So that's it for now. I hope you have a nice rest of the day or rest of the night, because here in Pakistan it's currently past midnight and I'm sweating like crazy because I'm in a non-AC room and it's still very hot and humid outside during nighttime even. During daytime it's impossible to stay in this room, but I'm managing somehow. See you guys.